Hey there. So this is going to be slightly different than anything I've done before. This is just a cup that I have as a ready to ship or ready to sell, whatever. It's just an opal glitter that literally I painted over with alcohol inks. I think the tutorial I saw on a Facebook group was called the Jessica Rainbow. That is not from me. I wish I could take credit for that idea, but it's just not perfect, and it hasn't sold, and it's been there for months. So I'm just going to do epoxy and then a white ink swirl over it, and we're going to see what that turns out. Worst case, it looks horrible and I take it off. Best case, it looks awesome and it actually sells. So I have 20 milliliters of epoxy mixed up. It's got a lot of bubbles right now. My shed is kind of on the cool side right now, and I didn't get my epoxy warm enough before I started doing this. That's okay. I've got my mask handy here. This is a organic vapors mask. There's a couple different ones. You definitely want to make sure and get one that is good for fumes. I'm just making sure my heat gun is plugged in, and it is. So I'm gonna coat this, and then we're just gonna use regular old Pinata White. It's about time for me to order some more of that. I cannot believe how much white ink I use. I would have never imagined that I would use as much white ink as I do. So just gonna work this on here. I do want it thick enough that it swirls. I don't want it so thin like you would be doing like a real thin layer on, we definitely don't want it as thin as you would be doing glitter via epoxy method, but you don't want it falling off either. That's bad. It's too runny. So I just like doing it this way, kind of swirling around. I feel like I can make sure and not have any bare spots for a bit, or not for a bit, but a little easier. I think standing here is going to kick my tail today. I'm so sore. I had a 15K that I ran with my childhood best friend this morning, and man, I was not ready for it, and I am feeling how 40 years old I am. Like every bone in my body is just screaming at me, and every muscle is protesting. That's what I get for not training, though. It's my own fault. I'm capable, I just was very lazy. So if you're a runner and you have any good tips for recovery or anything like that, feel free to leave them in the comments, because this won't be my last longer run. I definitely plan on doing some more 5Ks soon. Kind of keep at it. One of my coworkers has a plan to run at least one race every month this year, which is pretty cool. It's a good goal. Keeps her active and busy. But that's not for everyone. It wasn't for me until a few years ago. Alright, almost done. I'm just getting enough on here that I have movement when I hit it with heat. I do not want it dry or runny or anything like that. I'm going to put a little on the bottom too. I thought about doing a hydro dip on this one and just doing like white and then clear and then maybe silver and then clear, so that there would be gaps in here to kind of show the coloring through. But I decided to do this instead. This isn't quite the Milky Way look. I know it's going to slightly seem like a Milky Way, but it is not a true Milky Way. That involves different mixes of glitter, sizes, and micas, and all that. So this is not that. haven't done anything quite like this before. All right, and like I said, I'm not worried about air bubbles at all. Okay, so here we go. I'm not gonna go crazy with the white. Oh my gosh, if I can get this open, I'll be in good shape. Whew. Okay, I was almost glued shut with all the crusties there. Okay, I was getting epoxy on my ink there. So, drop, drop. Make sure you get something going off the edge there. Oh man, there's a little flake. Dried ink. There's another one. The dried ink around the edges here. Gotta watch that, it flakes, and it kind of landed in here. Got one off, but I feel like I saw another one. I may have imagined it. And it may have also been the piece going off the edge there. So I'm gonna leave this open for a minute and just off to the side there. And I'm gonna put on my mask and grab my heat gun. Gonna blast it with this guy here. I don't know why this thing's not working. Oh, I'm a ding dong. I unplugged the power strip this was on. Alright, easy fix. I'm just going to heat this up here. I'm hoping to have like a swirly cell breakup, kind of not quite smoky effect. I just want it to look cool. And you don't want to just heat up where the white ink is. You want to heat up all the epoxy so that it actually moves. You can kind of see it sliding around on the layer there. This is also working in our advantage by getting the air bubbles out. If you use a heat gun, make sure that you don't set that hot tip right there. It's hot. Make sure you don't set it on something that can melt, because I've done that. Luckily it was just the lid to a box. It wasn't anything important. So I'm just going to manipulate this up and down so that it does what I want it to do. Make sure you have a good gripper in there. I've got my pool noodle wrapped in shelf liner and really snug. I think I'm actually going to have to heat this up quite a bit. I've got it on there decently thick, but it's just not wanting to work. I'll get it back on there. Right now it looks like a little clown polka dots. Since I have a couple milliliters, I say that wrong every time. I work in eye care and I work with millimeters all the time. I'm just going to break this up just a little bit with just a real thin layer and kind of add to my movement ability there. I'll give me a little bit more to work with for manipulation there. Alright, that's that. Set that aside. We're going to heat that bad boy up again. But you don't want to scorch your epoxy, that's bad. Movement good, scorching bad. Pretty easy. You can kind of see how I'm moving it with the direction of my heat gun. I'm just holding it at an angle. I almost blew part of this right into the rim earlier. There we go, I'm finally getting some movement now. I'm not worried about those lines because we're about to break right up. If you overheat your epoxy, I do believe that can be a cause of the weird waviness that you get in it. I know that temperature changes while it's curing, like if you're in a cold workspace and it gets hot and then it gets cold and all that, it can also cause problems. So I'm going to take it off now that I have nice, good, flowy movement. You got to keep an eye on the gravity here. Will make it fall off. So we just want to go up and down, up and down. But keep an eye on it and kind of rotate it as you go. Otherwise, you'll end up with everything just in the same spot, just in the up and down motion. Kind of looks like excuse me, clouds over a rainbow now. Little wispies. It's a pretty cup. It's just hasn't been anyone's cup of tea yet, and that's okay. They can't all be winners. Several of the other videos, though, that I thought were going to be failures that turned out kind of cool, those sold right away. The video that I had where my white had separated. Okay, so see how I said, remember when I said don't put it on anything that can melt? I didn't pay attention how close to my lid that was. That's okay, it's not anything important though. So anyways, I am just going to kind of do this a little bit this way. Kind of let it go this way now. I don't want all of it to end up on one side. See how cool that looks now? Just kind of saving a cup that otherwise might have just sat and sat and sat. Which gives it a little bit different look than all the other cups on my shelf. I have a space in a vendor mall nearby, at least for the rest of this month. I don't think I'm going to continue because it's not really high traffic, but if I can move any more of them, might as well. So see how pretty that looks now? Just kind of swirled right over that. Got a little bit of area here that I really want to blast a little bit. I'll break it up just a little bit more in here. That's the gist of it. That's all I'm going to do to it. I'm literally going to let it now just sit here and spin. I'll come back in about an hour and take it off and work on something else. Might go rewatch Monty Python. Work on it tomorrow. We'll see. But I just wanted to record what I was doing to this since I was changing it up a lot. There was a couple of spots on this cup where it's like the glitter didn't adhere properly or something, and it just didn't quite blend, and that's okay. I mean, they're all supposed to be different. We don't want our cups to look all the same. That's boring. That'd be like people looking the same. That'd be really boring and confusing. So, good, gravy, good on there. So I'm going to turn this the other direction now. I've had several people ask me about my turner lately. It's just one that I made. It's very Southern engineered. It's really too big and too long, but it works for what I need it for, and I built it when I first started doing this just as a quick. There was no way I was going to hand turn all the teacher cups I was making. I just don't have the patience for that. Someday, I have a lot of the parts to do a few more turners. I'll get to it sometime soon, hopefully. But anyways, so this is pretty much what I was going for. Just something to kind of cover up and break up the color shift or color change there. I think this is actually going to sell pretty quick now. It's already pretty smooth, but I am going to put a real thin layer of epoxy over this just so that it seals it all in and just kind of keeps that white ink from taking on any colors of whatever. Excuse me. So if you have a cup that just doesn't look quite right, or it just isn't selling or something, that's just an option that you can use to do that. So that's it. I'm gonna final coat that today and take it up to the shop later on this week. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. Like I said, this is not a Milky Way. There is a Milky Way technique that has more of a swirl like that and lots of other combinations. This is just something I wanted to try to see if it worked. So kind of like a cloud over a rainbow. I like it. Yeah, that's it. You have a good one, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like my videos in general, please consider subscribing. Have a good one.